Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video, or welcome for the first time. My name is Luis and I'm a search engine optimization specialist. I do this freelancing full-time, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys how to submit a proposal on Upwork very easily. That only takes a few minutes to do, and if you do it successfully you can easily land a job. So if that sounds interesting to you, then stick around till the end of the video and I'll show you guys how to do that in a few moments. Okay, so here I found a job through Upwork. I already have an account since I've been doing this for about a year and a half now, doing SEO. So once you create an account, you can basically populate a lot of these results here. And since I'm doing digital marketing or SEO specifically, I have very specific results. And so we could see here, there's one called research keywords or keyword research, same thing. And I could see a lot of the details from the client, right? So a lot of things that I'm looking at right away are, what's the job about? How long ago was this job posted, which I could see here. How many job connects I have. I've been using them a lot, so I have very little, but I could buy some in a bit. I could see the average hourly rate that people get paid when they work with this particular client. They have great reviews. It's like a 4.75. They're from New York. And so what else? Here's another important piece. Activity on this job. So I guess this is something that you want to look at because you want to see how many people have applied to this job and how much competition you have. But for this job, it was posted 9 hours ago and there's only about 10 to 20 applicants for this position. The client was active about 20 minutes ago and he's interviewing 0 people, which means if you apply right now, then you have a really good chance of getting hired for this position. I could see the history for this client. I'm not going to go through all this, but you could see, given that they have good reviews, they're probably, it's a good bet that they're a good client to work with. They're easy to work with. You can see a negative review right there, but for the most part, 5 stars all around for the clients and for the freelancers that this client has worked with. So if I wanted to apply, I could just click here and I can click on my specialized profile, SEO. If you don't have one, you can easily create one. All that means is, if you have a special skill that you're doing, then you want to include that here. It's not a hard requirement, but it can be helpful. So I could see more information about this position. And when you create your profile, you could charge whatever you want for the most part. And I mean, like, in quotations, you could charge whatever you want, but it doesn't mean you're going to get paid that. So you can see that my profile rate says $50. I just kind of put a number there. But for this position, it's a bit harder to gauge, right? Because they need keyword research. Keyword research can mean a lot of things because, I've got this tool open here. And if I say, I don't know, what do I want to look up? I don't know. Let's say something competitive like protein powder. There's a lot of results here, right? So there's like 120,000 results, but what I have to determine is how many keywords they need. And so really when I apply to this position, I'm just going to be asking them questions like, what industry are you in? How many keywords do you need? What's the purpose behind the keywords? Is it for blog posts or is it for like a homepage, service page, landing page, etc.? And then once I get that information, then I can better quote the client around how long it'll take me. And I can give them a really specific price point on what I would feel comfortable doing this job for, given the amount of time that it's going to take me. So if it's going to take me 10 hours and they need 100 keywords or whatever it is, I'm going to quote them specifically for that. So you could charge them per hour. So if you charge them, say like $50 an hour, which, if you're a beginner, you're probably not going to charge that, but let's, for example, and it takes you 3 hours, maybe you could charge $150, $200. Because keep in mind, when you're working remotely, this platform here, Upwork, they're going to take a fee. And so if I charge them $100, they're going to take 20% from the top. So something to keep in mind. So I'm going to pause the video and kind of fill this out briefly, and then I'm going to show you guys what I did. Okay, so here's what I wrote. It's very simple, and you guys can see it right here. Hi there, I read your job description. I would like to help you out with this project. I have a few questions for you. Number 1, what industry are you in? Number 2, do you know how many keywords you need? And number 3, is this for a blog post? The more information I have, the better I can quote you. The hourly rate is just an estimate. I'm open to quoting you on a per project basis. I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon. Kind regards, Luis Cota. So pretty simple, pretty straight and to the point. And I could see down here how many people are applying to this position. This little feature here, this function that talks about boosting your job proposal, just means that whenever you hit send for 2 connects, which is how much it takes to submit this application or job proposal, whatever you want to call it, that my application is going to be near the bottom of this client's page. And so if I were to submit a bid, if you wanted to, I usually don't do this, especially if there's not that many people applying to the position, then if I were to use this, then I would just be placed near the top of the page. That's all it means, but you don't need to do that. If you really wanted to, and if you really want the position, then you can go ahead and do that. And so the next thing you could do is just submit some attachments. So given that this position talks about keywords, what you'd want to do is include some attachments related to keyword research. So if you're a complete beginner, and if you haven't done this, then create some examples. So for example, I'm imagining that this client is about, that this keyword research task is about protein powders, right? So I'm using SEMrush here, and for this purpose, or for this example, I'm going to assume, just to generate some examples, that they need organic keywords, or maybe they have a website that talks about protein powder and I want to illustrate that I have some skills doing keyword research. Then maybe I would select a few of these. Let me pause the video to do that. Okay, so I went ahead and selected a few keywords here, and I'm not going to make you guys watch the entire thing, but let's say that I'm getting plant-based related keywords or organic plant-based related keywords for plant-based protein powders. So what you could do is add these to a list, which I have already done, and then you could basically pull this into a CSV or an Excel, upload it to, you could either keep them as Excels and show the clients that you've done keyword research before, or you can use something like Google Sheets to upload that data and then show the client your examples that way. But the point is that you want to have a lot of examples, at least, I don't know, like a set of 5 or 10 of these for different clients in a related, unrelated industries and niches. So I would go ahead and do that, and then I would upload these examples into your attachments. And I have a couple that I'm going to upload, but I'm going to keep those private, but it's basically something similar to doing this, really. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Okay, so here are the keywords that I've identified, and this is just for example purposes. Obviously, if I had a little bit more time that I want to invest, then I would have a more comprehensive list of keywords. But for example purposes, what you could do is export this file, which I have already done. I'm going to open it up, and it's a good idea to know how to use Excel or Google Sheets. If you don't know how to use Excel or Google Sheets, then I recommend you learn how to do that. And there's a lot of ways you can go about pulling this data, but I'm just going to copy it. I have a Google Sheets opened up. I'm just going to paste this, and now I have the same information that I have here. So now I don't need it. And there's a lot of things you could do here, but I'm going to keep it simple. So for example, we don't need this information here. Let me move my head out of the way. We don't need this information here, so I can go ahead and delete it. This is good information to know. It's a bit harder to speak and then try to do this, but yeah, so if you don't know how to read this data, it kind of tells you what it is. If you look at the upper headings here, you can add a filter by clicking that button there. And that means that if I want to sort it in a different order, then I could go ahead and do that. If I want the highest volume first, you could do that. And if I wanted to make this bigger, I could just click on this little blue button here that kind of appears. And I could look at the data. I could clean up this data a bit further by organizing it, or I could rename it or delete some information. You get the idea. So there's a lot of things you could do with this tool, which is why it's great to know how to use it. But for the most part, for example purposes, you won't need to know how to do most of this stuff. Just deleting, adding in information, sorting, filtering. If you know conditional formatting, that could be really helpful, and some other stuff, but I'm going to keep this video basic. Let's go ahead and clean that up, and you could see for every keyword that we look up, right? Here is what appears in the Google SERP results, search engine result pages, which means the first page of Google. It tells you, SEMrush tells you the click potential, but you don't really need to know any of that stuff. Trend, I never use, and I actually don't even use this. So if you really wanted to, this is kind of all the information you need, and sometimes the intent is not correct according to SEMrush. So you can organize this differently if you wanted to. Like you could just call some of these, I don't know, something like that, and I could pull this down and say these are similar or different. But basically you would want to know how to do search intent is really important. So if you don't know how to do that, then you should learn about that. But this video is not for that. And so just keeping things really simple, I could just name this file keyword list samples, or sample for, let's call this protein powder, for example. And now I have my keyword, list sample, and I could go ahead and download this as whatever I want. It doesn't really matter. As long as you have the samples, then that's all people care about. If you wanted them to have a lot of flexibility so they could sort through the data, then an Excel could be useful. But even a PDF is okay. So I went ahead and downloaded this, and I could pretty much upload this to my proposal. So I'm going to do that now. And obviously if I had a lot more examples to show, then better. So if I wanted to do a client in the crypto space or get some keywords for someone in the investing world, whatever interests you, then go ahead and do that. The more the better. So give me 1 second. Okay, so I went ahead and uploaded the attachment, which is the keywords that I just downloaded from here. When you're doing keyword research, you want to make sure that you get a lot of keywords for a particular subject, right? Because this is just an example. So obviously I probably wouldn't upload this. It's okay, but there's not much going on here. But if we're talking about one specific thing, then try to get a lot of keywords for that thing. So if it was about, I'm going to use a generic example like yoga mats, or the best yoga mat, then I would get some more keywords on that, right? Maybe it's 10 of them, maybe it's 15, I don't know. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then all you have to do is upload as many as you want. And then maybe like, I don't know, 5 or 10 of these examples would be great. All you have to do is just send it. And that's kind of how it all gets done. And just apply to as many places that, potentially need your help as a beginner in SEO, if you're a beginner. Then if not, then you know what you do. But it's pretty easy. Then you get interviewed and then you get hired. So you can also schedule a time to speak with the client so you could discuss this information further, because what they're saying here is kind of vague. And so anyways, that's how you do it. So for more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and check out my other videos, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one.